Hi, welcome to Crafty Little Things. I'm Andrea, and today I'm going to show you a variation on this little bag. This was just, I mean, it's cute as it is, but it's just a prototype really. I saw it on Pinterest and I kind of made my own version of it. But I'm not that happy with it, to be honest. I mean, it isn't sort of finished off, the ribbon's not attached or anything. But what it was supposed to do was, it's supposed to be like that, and obviously it wouldn't be like this when it was the finished version. And it's supposed to hold a gift card there, but I couldn't get the gift card to stay. And this was just unnecessariness, and I thought, hang on, I must be able to do that easier. Because I like to do really easy projects, because I like to encourage people who haven't tried paper crafting before to have a go, and the best way to encourage them is to make it as easy as possible. So I had an attempt at making an easier one, and I think I've achieved that. So I should just show you how I made my easier version. I'm just going to tie that up out of the way. It's so cute. And this one I made, just that one was supposed to be cardstock covered in DSP, but this one, the DSP, speciality DSPs are so good that you don't really need DSP and cardstock. And this one hasn't got a handle added to it, but I could easily add an handle to it, like so. It's really cute. And this one, all I did was, I did it more or less the same, except inside, instead of doing all that folding and it not staying put, I just folded it once, and I just used a dimensional and attached the card to just to the inside, basically. So I'm going to show you how to make this. I'm going to start from scratch, so I've not got anything pre-prepared. And I'm just going to use some DSP. I think what I might do for this one, because you need a 12 piece of 11.5 by 4.5. So I might use, I'm going to use this lovely dotty paper because I just love it. Or shall I use the other side? I think I might use this dotty paper to have it a bit fun, because I've got the sort of plain one with the bright contrast ribbon, and I've got this floral one, so I think I'll do that sort of more young, fun looking one. So like I said, you need a piece 11.5 by 4.5. Now I've been having lots of problems with my trimmer, and I know I'm not alone. A lot of people have said they're having problems with the trimmers. I think the blades just blunt really fast is one of the issues. So that's 4.5. You only need one piece of cardstock for this as well, which is a really nice thing. By 11.5. Apart from, obviously, those two haven't got a sentiment or anything on them. You might want to stick a sentiment on. So 3.5, 5.5 and 9. But then we're also going to score at 4.5. There. Right, so that's it in terms of scoring as well. So you can burnish those score lines if you want. So your biggest flap comes forward, and then your middle, your next one goes up, your next one goes down, and your next one comes over. This cardstock is, this DSP is so thick that it really, you don't need to cover it. It's annoying. So you end up just with that little really simple shape, okay? Then what you're going to do is you're just going to make some adjustments to this, okay? So if you get your side where you're up to your first score line is at 3.5 inches from the edge, and you just mark at 1/2 inch in from each end, okay? And then if you just measure down to 2 3/4 and mark again. At 2 3/4. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to join those together. You can use a ruler or you can use your trimmer and do it with your trimmer. My trimmer, I'm not trusting it to do anything like this because it's just eating my paper. So I'm just going to do it with a line using a ruler. Okay. And then the other end, where you've got your score lines a bit sooner, so at 2.5, mark 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch. And then you want to just go down to that 1/2 inch, you just want to take it down to your first score line. You know, when I do 1/2 inch on one end and 1/2 inch on the other, it never seems to be as big. I don't think I'm looking at it right. Somebody was saying the other day that they, it was on the Joy Sets, they were asking if people stand up to craft or sit down. And I think if you stand up, you get a much better, you're sort of on top of your work, if you like. And then for this one, what we want to do is, you see this score line here, we just want to go back 3/4 inch, so 1/2 inch, so sort of to 4.5. So if you've got it on your grid paper, sort of 6 notches back. And then what you want to do is line up the bottom of your last, where you stopped at your score line, and line that up with that mark that you've just made there. And then that will just give you that nice shape. Like I said, you can use your trimmer to do this, to get, you know, nice and precise. But you can use scissors as well. Just to okay, that'll just give that nice shape. So just cut straight down those lines. You can cut that off if it's getting in your way, and then follow that line down to the bottom. Straight down those lines, and then just follow that line down to the bottom. And that just gives you that lovely shape of the bag with that going over the top. Okay, so you get that nice shape. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to round off my corners and just use a corner rounder. You can use a decorative one, or you can use a plain one, or you can use a die if you want to get a really decorative edge. In the instructions that I'm going to share with you, that's what she did. She used a really decorative die, and she made it really fancy around the edge. but I'm making it really easy. Now, this is your last time where you can decide whether you're going to, which side you're going to use. So if you decide you do want to do this side, then you can switch it around if you want to, and make it fully reversible. So that would go in there. Just turn all your score lines around, and that would make it reversible. That would be really pretty for a wedding or something. And this is nice and ditzy for just maybe for a girl's graduation or something like that. Okay. So the thing with this pattern is it doesn't show up very nice, you know, it doesn't show up the lovely detailing very well. And that, I suppose that's a benefit of using cardstock and a paper on the top. So I don't know whether to go with this. I think I might actually go with this one, with this side, because I just think it shows up better. So I'm just going to have to re-press all those score lines. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is, so all I have to do is just attach my little card onto there using a dimensional, which is what I've done here. This is not a gift card, by the way, this is just a Love Your Body card from the Body Shop, just to use for illustration. So that would just fasten onto there. Now for your ribbon closure, obviously you want to make sure that your front and the score line for your flap are really lined up tight together. On one of these I didn't, and made a bit of a mistake. And now you can either punch or you can use a ribbon slotter or whatever you want to do. But you need 2 holes, so I'm just going to put mine in. This is 4.5 and we've cut off 1 inch, so it's 3.5. So if you put your punched holes in at 3.5, if you put them in at sort of 1 inch, that'll leave them 1 inch apart. Well, it's going to be 1 inch from that edge, so 1.5 inches from the very edge. But make sure that that is lined up there, okay? And if you want to, what you can do is you can just undo it all, because it's not fastened or anything. Go to 1 inch. I'm just going to line this up with the bottom of the crocodile, and I'm just going to pop them in there. And then what you can do is just turn it over and just pop a mark where you want to cut your others out. And then look and see if you can see your marks. I never can. There's one, and there's the other. And there we go. And now that'll line up nicely for your ribbon. And it's just so easy to do. Now I think for this one, I use the Tea Room, but I used the Coastal Cabana. I think for this one, I'm going to use the Tea Room again, and I'm going to use the Very Vanilla this time, because I think the Very Vanilla and the bronzy metal will look quite nice against, yeah, they will. They'll look quite nice against that. This is gorgeous. I got it in a ribbon share. I'm going to have to buy some more. Right, before I put the ribbon to close it, I need to pop the ribbon for the handle. So it's up to you. I mean, I'm just going to run it like that, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my sentiment on there and then tie it in a bow. So I'm just going to run some glue. And then I'm going to pop a sentiment on there, so I'm not going to tie that up just yet. Okay, so I'm just going to look at what I'm going to do for my sentiment. I think I'm just going to get a piece, I'm just going to keep it really simple. And get a piece of very, is that very vanilla? Just looking in my scrap box. I think I'm just going to get a piece of very vanilla. And I've really hurt my back. I don't know how. I don't know if it was I don't know if it's just from sleeping in different beds or if it was from travelling and sitting on a train for so long in one position. But I've really hurt my back. Yeah. So I'm just going to use that. Cut the other end off. Tell you what, I'm just going to go with a nice sort of neutrally colour. I'm just going to go with crumb cake. Yeah. Think of you is to smile. I like crumb cake because sometimes when it dries, it can look very gold. And I like that about it. And I think it's quite fitting to look a bit gold with this paper. So it's my messy craft table. So I'm just going to wrap that around there. There we go. That's it. And that was a nice easy little project, and it's so cute as well. So thanks for joining me for that one.